There was that one time. I would love to tell you guys that story, and Alexis is laughing because he... Can you fix it in post? Absolutely, but...
Is it fun?
When you have a team and someone on your team is stronger at something than you, don't let your ego get the best of you. Testicle. We're good? All right. So welcome back to the channel, guys. Today's going to be a short, sweet video. We're going to go over how we shoot a ceremony, some of the procedures that we do, protocol that we always have to make things as smooth and easy as possible. So the first thing that we do, and we already did it, Kaitlin gave me one of her cards. I gave her one of mine because what we do is we shoot backed up. So we always shoot with two cards. This is Kaitlin's card, that's my card. At the end of the evening, what we're gonna do is we're gonna exchange cards. So I'm gonna take mine back, she's gonna take hers back, and we're both gonna have full copies of the wedding at separate locations. Alexis, who's recording this, is also gonna be shooting on another card right here that I gave him. At the end of the night, I take this one as well. During the ceremony is about the only time that the third shooter shoots, the assistant shoots. The rest of the time, he's more in charge of making sure that our lighting is good, making sure that he's spreading her dress so it looks professional, because that little detail looks a little bit better. So during the ceremony, he's gonna be shooting a third angle, and this way we're not gonna be running around crossing. The last thing you wanna do is cross in front of that first pew, because you're getting in front of grandma, you're getting in front of parents, and it just looks sloppy. So one thing that we do in order to mitigate that is the lead photographer stays in the middle, the second photographer stays on the angle where the bride is pointing towards, and the third is always where the groom is pointing towards. During this time, they're also responsible for photographing candids, so people watching, people napping, whatever people do during the ceremony, we don't judge, we just capture it. So that's why we use 3 people to shoot, so that way we're not running around. I know the videographers have told us in the past that they appreciate that because we're not moving around and making noise, and we try to be as mindful as possible if there's a videography team not to be in their line of sight. Rule of thumb, if you see a lens directly pointing at you, I know it sounds obvious, it's recording you, so just make sure you're not in that line of sight. Other than that, yep, we synced up. We're gonna go inside, we're gonna find out from the priest officiant any of the rules that they have, where we can and can't stand. Hopefully we have a good priest. 99.9% of the time we have a great, officiant, whoever's there. As long as we ask about the rules, they're usually very appreciative that we're being respectful of their space. There was that one time, I would love to tell you guys that story, and Alexis is laughing because he was there for it. I'll tell you guys that story another time, actually, if you wanna know. Leave a comment. Yeah, that was a very fun day. It was recent too. But usually it goes very smooth. Usually we do families after the ceremony. The reason for that is that 9 out of 10 times people don't show up on time, and now we can't do every combination because we're waiting on somebody. Hopefully that's not the case today, because the bride has prepped them and told them that we're gonna be doing families beforehand. So families before the ceremony, then we're gonna shoot the ceremony, and then we're gonna head over to the venue. Kaitlin is gonna tell you guys, as a second shooter, what would you say your responsibilities are before the ceremony begins? Your responsibilities are during the ceremony, like what you're in charge of that I can't see. Okay. So Kaitlin, take it away.
All right. So when I approach a ceremony from a second shooter perspective, the first thing I'm thinking is, since Elmer is going to be doing the family portraits before the ceremony, the things that I can focus on, since I'm not going to have the bride and the groom to be able to do their portraits or their detail photos because they're obviously going to be wearing them already, I'm going to be focusing on the details in the ceremony site. So I'm going to be going around and seeing if there's any special, florals or decorations that they've added. So I'm going to get some detail photos of those things. We saved the wide shot for last because we're using the ceremony space for the family portrait. So I'm doing a lot of close-ups at this time. Another thing that I can focus on is getting some candid interactions or side groups that's not disruptive to the family photo process. A lot of that's going to be candids. Anybody who's interacting with each other, especially since it's before the ceremony, they're just going to be greeting each other, hugging, I really like to look for points of connection between people. Those make for such amazing photos, and I find that a lot of the couples that we serve really, truly treasure those photos. We're getting people as they are and not just the pose photos. So I try to add that a little bit, not really adding to the family's burden of being stood there and posed for photos, but I'm still capturing them, if that makes sense. But yeah, those are going to be the main things I'm focusing while Elmer is focusing on family photos. And then once we go into the ceremony, I tend to stay on the sides. Like he said, we have a 3-person setup, so I focus on the bride. And then Alexis today is going to be focusing on the groom. So I'm looking for reactions that she has, any emotional, expression that she has during the ceremony. I like to get close-up details of storytelling type details, like their hands, putting on the rings nice and close up, so they have those sentimental details. And then I also am looking at the audience. I'm kind of on a swivel between the couple and the crowd. So those are the main responsibilities that I try to focus on during the ceremony. It's a little bit different than the main photographer, but I feel like it really adds that just little bit of extra emotion and feeling to the photos when the couple goes back to look, at their special day. Some more technical shots that we like to get during the ceremony to add to those emotional, extra zhuzh photos to the album. The main ones that we like to get first is putting on the veil. So when we're waiting for the ceremony to start and the main photographer's in getting the wide ceremony shot and some of those really important standard shots, either the second photographer or the assistant will go into the bridal suite, and we're going to capture that moment of the bride having her veil put on. This can be a really sentimental moment if it's the maid of honor, if it's the mom, and another point of connection that they look back on and really appreciate. Second shot that we like to get is the over-the-shoulder shot of the groom seeing his bride walking down the aisle. Whether or not they've had a first look, I feel like this moment is one of those moments where time stops for them, and it's just a really emotional thing. Whoever's walking the bride down the aisle, whether it be her dad or somebody else important in her life, or even if it's just the bride, getting a photo over their shoulder of the groom seeing her is so emotional that we include that shot in every wedding that we do. The last photo that I prioritize as a second shooter is getting the first kiss alongside the lead photographer. Whether Elmer today is going to do the wide first kiss shot, I'll do the tight, or if he wants to do like a closer up version of the first kiss shot, I'll do a wide shot. We kind of just make sure that we have a lot of variation there and that we're capturing it in many ways. And then while he follows the couple out, I will then capture the rest of the people walking down the aisle so we can get a little bit of the celebration right after the ceremony, but also make sure that we've captured all of their special people walking back down the aisle.
I'm going to be speaking for Alexis here because some of the responsibilities, he just started with us fairly recently, but I would say the biggest responsibility of our third assistant is capturing the reaction of the groom. So Alexis is going to be in the front, just like hyper focused on his reaction, because just in case Kaitlin misses that over the shoulder shot, it happens. Somebody stands up, there's a big iPad in the way, whatever. Alexis is in charge of capturing that reaction of him because that may be the first time that he's seen in her wedding dress. So we always have Alexis as a nice backup. Alexis, if you want to say everything I just said in Spanish. No, I'm joking. No. So yeah, we're about to get started. I think they're going to get here in a minute. So follow along, guys. So right now we're all going to time sync, and that's very important because that way, and let's do 12:24 on the dot. We do on the dot because my ancient A9 doesn't do seconds. 24, there we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. The reason that we time sync is this way when we're editing and we're delivering the photos, we're not going to be where Kaitlin is shooting details of the reception while he's shooting the getting ready and I'm shooting the families. Like, it's not going to be all mixed. Can you fix it in post? Absolutely. But
is it fun? No.
It's not. No. It's a pain in the behind. I have a video that explains it, but I think on our private team training. But if you Google it, I mean, you can find how to time sync later in Lightroom, but why make extra work when that took 30 seconds? If you're not getting ready in the same location, you can use Time.gov. And then that way, if Kaitlin was getting ready at the hotel, for example, and we're getting ready at a different location, we use Time.gov, we sync up to that, and then everybody's happy. So that way we don't have to sync it in post. Another thing, well, I kind of mentioned it before about the priest that kind of got on our case that one time, but what we do is we're going to go inside in a second and we're going to find out about the rules. So that way they can let us know where we can stand, and also about flash, because some venues, some churches don't want you to use flash during the ceremony, but they'll allow you to use it during the walkdowns. Others don't care if you use it. Others don't let you use it at all. So you have to find these rules out before the ceremony so it doesn't turn into a situation where halfway through the ceremony they start, getting on your case, which has happened to us. We asked about the rules, but the person who was like kind of coordinating the church had a different idea than priest, I guess. So the priest, like halfway through it, was like, "Hey guys, can you not use flash?" Okay, no problem. So we shut them off. We bump up our ISOs and it all worked out in the end. But just find out the rules so that way you can cover your bases as much as possible. So here's one thing that we made a joke about is that some people say that they're documentary photographers and they don't do, what is this? Lay flats?
Flat lays.
Flat lays. English is my second language, everybody. So I can use that excuse at any time. I'm not good at doing these details. My hands aren't delicate. They're not, I'll just throw everything together. I do my best, of course, but Kaitlin is much better at this. So when you have a team and someone on your team is stronger at something than you, don't let your ego get the best of you and be like, no, like I'm going to be better. Let them shine. Let them do what they know how to do. And as a team, the couple gets a better product. So that's what we're doing right now, setting up a little bit of details. And after this, we're going to go and get the bride in the dress so we can get going. So Kaitlin just came out here with tremendous news.
Oh, yeah.
So Kaitlin, take it away.
Oh, yes. I just went and talked to the priest, and I asked him if we had any rules for the ceremony space, and he said to me, do whatever you want, which was the best thing I've ever heard in my life at a Catholic wedding.
Now, at the same time, don't be a dummy. Just because they said you can do whatever you want, don't be crossing in the front. Don't be getting in people's way. Like, we still follow the rules because we build habits, I feel like.
Yes.
So even though he says do whatever you want, we're still going to stick to our sides. We're not going to cross in the front. We're going to be respectful. We're not going to go on the stage. Like, still, have some sort of respect for it. And also
awareness.
Because he might be cool with it, but if there's another priest, sometimes they get on your case. We're not going to curse because we're at church.
And you know what, though, too? I feel like I have to say, but just the way we present ourselves as people, self-aware and professional, I feel like when you look at somebody and they look like they might have good judgment, they tend to be a little bit more lenient and a little bit more understanding where they can say something like that to us. Whereas if I showed up and I did not look professional and put together and reasonable, he may not have said that to me. You know what I mean?
It plays into it. I think that when you don't have to wear a suit to shoot a wedding. I prefer it because I feel more comfortable. I would rather be overdressed and then I can always take off my jacket, roll up my sleeves if I need to, than be underdressed and then show up to a place where everyone's in a black tie kind of situation. Exactly. So I think with Kaitlin's point, when you walk up to him and you look like a professional, you look like you've done this in the past, they can tell you can do whatever you want because they understand that we're still going to use. So good judgment. Let's go and tap dance on the stage in the middle of the ceremony. So we just finished up, guys. We wanted to do just a little bit, instead of doing an overall, whole day behind the scenes, we wanted to give you guys something a little bit more specific. So just the ceremony coverage, how we handle it. In the end, there were a few other details, like the fact that this church has carpet all around or rugs all around. It helps because you're not click-clacking everywhere you walk around. So that was really nice. The staff was really nice, so that always helps. And then another thing that I forgot to mention is during the first kiss, we always double up. So Kaitlin was doing the wide and I was doing the tight. So that's something that we've been implementing recently because that way when we walk back with the couple, Kaitlin stays behind and continues to capture everybody walking back. And that way she doesn't have to run to that position. She's already there. She captures that while I go, and normally I would go up to the front to start setting up for family photos. But since we did them before, now we're ready to go to the next location to do the wedding party. So the guys are packing up. We're gonna get going. It's about a 25-minute drive. I let one of the guys from the wedding party know that we're gonna be shooting there in the back so they know where to take them. But yeah, anyway, if you guys have any questions, leave a message, leave a comment rather, and yeah, I think we're off. 2025, you're in 2026, you're all over the place.
He's ready for next year.
This doesn't look, there we go, testicle. Kaitlin, I got your keys. And you're trying to get me in trouble with that. I saw
Sorry.